Bunny loves to learn. One morning, Buster Bunny and his best friends, Sam the Squirrel, Max the Mouse, and Francine the Frog, arrived at school. "What's in those boxes, miss?" asked Buster. "Costumes," said Miss Nibbler. "Today you're going to dress up as people who lived a long time ago. I want you to make something from the time when they lived and tell us all about it." "I'm going to find out about Vikings," said Buster. "I want to be a knight," said Sam. "They have amazing helmets." "I think I'll be a princess," said Francine. "I can't decide what to find out about," said Max. "Why don't you dress up as an Egyptian ruler?" said Buster, taking a book from the shelf. They were called pharaohs, but the pharaoh's crown was missing from the box. "I don't want to be a king without a crown," said Max. Just then he noticed a poster on the classroom wall. "I want to be an Egyptian mummy," he said. "They're so cool." He rummaged in the costume box. "Bother," he said. "There's no mummy costume." "I've got a knight's sword and helmet," said Sam. "I'm going to make a shield to go with them." "I'm building a model of a Viking ship," said Buster. "And I'm making a palace for a princess," said Francine. Soon Buster, Sam, and Francine were busy making things. But Max still didn't know what to make. "I really want to dress up as a mummy," he grumbled. "What else do you know about Egyptians?" asked Buster. "I know they build big pyramids," said Max. "Why don't you build one of those?" suggested Buster. Max found some big sheets of cardboard and tried to make a pyramid. "Oh dear," he said. "This is trickier than I thought." Francine showed him how to look up pyramids on the computer. "Ah, now I see," said Max. "A pyramid has 4 sides, not 3, and each side is exactly the same size." Max finished his pyramid proudly, but then he sighed. "I still don't know what to wear," he said. "Ouch," said Buster suddenly. "I just got a paper cut." "It's only a small one," said Miss Nibbler. "But you'd better go to the school nurse for a bandage." "That gives me an idea," said Buster. He whispered in Max's ear. "Great," laughed Max. "Please don't be long." When it was time to present to the class, the friends took turns showing what they had made. "I'm a knight," said Sam. "My shield protected me in battle. It was brightly painted so that my friends could recognize me when my helmet was shut." "I'm a princess," said Francine. "I lived in a palace. I wore long silky dresses and tall pointy hats, and I often got to boss around all the knights." Buster, back from the nurse, showed the class his Viking ship. "I'm a Viking," he said. "I love to sail in a very fast ship called a longship. It had a dragon's head carved on the front to scare my enemies." "Thanks, Buster," said Miss Nibbler. "Now it's Max's turn." "Egyptians lived a very, very long time ago," said Max's voice. But he was nowhere to be seen.
Mama,
They built.
think that's Max.
That is Max. "They built amazing pyramids," the voice went on. "The pyramids were taller than 10 houses on top of each other. Nobody lived in them except for mummies. Rah!" And Max leapt out of the pyramid.
Mom!
Yes, baby. Max leapt out of the pyramid. "So that's what you were hiding," cried Francine. "Where did you get that wonderful mummy costume?" asked Sam. "I thought there wasn't one." "I borrowed the bandages from the school nurse," said Max. "It was Buster's idea." "Clever thinking, Buster," said Miss Nibbler. "And well done to everybody. Your costumes look amazing, and you've all learned some really interesting things. What a wonderful show and tell." Elephants never forget. I woke up this morning astounded to find my long trunk in a knot. I know it must be to remind me to remember something I forgot. But though I've been thinking all morning, I haven't remembered it yet. Still, I'm sure I will think of it soon, because elephants never forget. A Nutty Adventure. Squirrel was scurrying around the forest floor, gathering nuts for winter. Then, when he was sure nobody was looking, he pushed them one by one into his secret hidey hole at the bottom of the giant beech. It was hard work, and soon Squirrel needed a break. He peeped into the hole to see how many nuts he had collected, but the hidey hole was empty. Squirrel was so angry that he stamped his feet and squeaked at the top of his voice. "Somebody's stolen my pile of nuts!" Rabbit hopped over to her friend, rubbing her head. "Well, someone has been dropping nuts on me," she cried. "I've just had to sweep them all out of my house." Then Rabbit began to laugh. She realized what had happened. Squirrel had been pushing the nuts through her window. When Rabbit explained, Squirrel began to chuckle too. "What a nutty adventure!" he laughed. The Three Billy Goats Gruff. Long ago, there were three brothers, a little goat, a medium-sized goat, and a big goat. The brothers lived in a field of short, dry grass beside a river. On the other side of the river was a bridge. Over a bridge was a huge meadow with long, juicy grass. The goats longed to taste the juicy grass, but the bridge was guarded by a horrible, ugly troll. One day, the little Billy Goat Gruff plucked up his courage and trotted over the bridge. Trip, trap, went his feet. "Who's that trip-trapping over my bridge?" cried the troll, leaping in front of the little goat. "I will eat you!" "Please don't," cried the little goat. "Wait for my brother. He is much bigger and tastier than me." "All right," said the greedy troll, and he let the little goat cross. Later that day, the medium-sized goat saw his little brother munching grass on the other side and wanted to eat it too. So he set off, trip, trap, across the bridge. "Who's that trip-trapping over my bridge?" cried the troll again. "I will eat you!" "Please don't," cried the medium-sized goat. "Wait for my brother. He's much bigger and tastier than me." The greedy troll licked his lips and let the medium-sized Billy Goat Gruff cross the bridge. At last it was the big Billy Goat Gruff's turn to cross the bridge. Trip, trap, went his hooves on the wooden bridge. "Who's that trip-trapping over my bridge?" bellowed the troll, drooling at the sight of the big goat. "I will eat you!" But the big Billy Goat Gruff was not afraid of the ugly troll. "You can't eat me!" shouted the big Billy Goat Gruff. He lowered his head, stamped his hooves, and tossed the troll into the river with his great big billy goat horns. Then the biggest goat went trip, trap, over the bridge to join his brothers, and the horrible troll never bothered them again.
Mum, what's a troll?
A troll, he's the big green guy. Dance, Jiggle, dance. The animals at Red Barn Farm were fed up. They wanted some peace and quiet. But Jiggle, the donkey, was tap dancing. He was practicing for the local farm dance competition. His hooves clicked and clattered loudly across the yard as he twirled, and his shrill braying could be heard for miles around as he sang along. He was determined to win. But first he had to find a dance partner. Jiggle clattered over to the pond to ask Duck. "I'd like to help," quacked Duck, "but I've got flat feet." Jiggle clopped over to the barn to ask Cow. "I can't," mooed Cow. "If I dance around, my milk gets too frothy. Why don't you ask Sheep?" "Will you dance with me?" Jiggle asked Sheep. "Oh, I've got such a thick coat," bleated Sheep. "I'll get too hot." Jiggle wouldn't give up. Even though he didn't have a partner, he practiced his dance moves all week. At last, the day of the competition arrived. All the competitors gathered in a big tent, set up on the village green. Jiggle still hadn't found a dance partner, but he decided to watch Farmer Brown and Mrs. Brown, who were dancing first. Everyone cheered as they made their way to the stage, but suddenly Farmer Brown tripped and hurt his knee. "I'm fine," he told Mrs. Brown. "Just go ahead without me." Mrs. Brown looked around and saw Jiggle. "Will you be my partner?" she asked. "The other animals have told me all about your dancing." Beaming with pride, Jiggle joined Mrs. Brown on the dance floor. What a pair they made, moving together in rhythm. When the judge announced that they had won first prize, it was the happiest day of Jiggle's life. Now the other animals don't mind Jiggle's dancing quite so much. They even stop what they're doing to watch his new moves. However, if Jiggle breaks into song as he dances, the other animals just cover their ears and yell, "Please, Jiggle!" just Jiggle.